Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Noelle and I review and unbox subscription boxes here on my channel, and today I have another book box to share with you. Now this is one of the OG book boxes. It is not sent to me for a review. Occasionally, because I am part of their VIP club, they will offer to send boxes out, but with my current subscription I usually have already gotten those boxes if they're ones that I did want to read and review. Now it's a really great deal in my personal opinion. It is $49.99. And that is going to include all kinds of things, including the book for that month. And they do have adult, young adult, and now even middle grader selections each month. And then along with the book, you get a bookmark. Often you get a signed book plate from the author, sometimes an author's note, which I always really enjoy. And then you get like 3 to even 5 gifts. Sometimes there's some little extras, like little what I call paper gifts, in terms of bringing the story to life. Like maybe someone had a ticket stub and they'll go ahead and put a ticket stub in at that page. But it's really the little gifts that I think are very fun. Sometimes we've gotten some really great just sort of general lifestyle items. Sometimes the items that they have created for the boxes aren't things that I would necessarily use in my daily life, but again, it is one of the boxes that has really gotten me back into reading as an adult, and I did a lot of reading in my school days, but this is now all about the pleasure of reading again. And sometimes when it's a book that maybe is challenging me a little bit because it might not be a genre that I'm usually into, having a couple more pages to get through to get to that next gift is a little inspiring, right? Now, I will leave a link and a code for you, but the code is just Noel10. That'll save you 10%. And again, they have a monthly subscription where in each of those categories, adult, young adult, and middle grader, everyone is reading the same book. So leading up to it, they will give you hints. A lot of the times you can kind of probably figure out what it is if you're kind of up on the publishing world, but you can also skip. So sometimes if I find out that it's going to be like chick lit, like a sweet romance, sappy something, I'll go ahead and skip those boxes these days with my current subscription. I usually do 3 months at a time, and sometimes that can last me like 4 months if I happen to skip, but I do think it's a pretty fun subscription to have. So let's go ahead and get into this one. This is the July book, I believe. I'm pretty sure this is the July book. So, and it was kind of puffy in this cute little book box. So they always include a guide. So it tells us that the theme, or sort of the hint for this month, was leave no trace. Yes, it was the July book. And then we have this little like pamphlet. So inside they often have an interview with the author, which was Wendy Walker. So it's always nice to get that writer's perspective. Then because it is the Once Upon a Book Club, I don't even think I said the name officially, but Once Upon a Book Club, they do have discussion questions and read along dates where you can try to get up to the gifts. So in this case, there were 3 gifts. They were all kind of in the first half of the book. It wasn't very long, but sometimes I like it when it's a little bit more spaced out. And then now they have a QR code, because they used to have live discussions, I think, but it was really hard to kind of get everyone in sync. But they do have a pretty active Facebook group, and sometimes in that Facebook group you can actually get full boxes that people have read and they've saved all the gifts, so you can still get that experience for a little bit less. But again, I think that getting the book and all the gifts included in that $49.99 per month is actually really good, because you know the shipping on these boxes these days is a lot. So then they have on the back, sometimes they have something that kind of has to do a little bit more with the book, like maybe a recipe from the book or something. This time around it was love this, try that. So if you loved a certain movie, then you could try these other things. For example, you know, if you liked the TV show You, or the book You, which I really did enjoy, then you might like Pretty Little Liars, for example. So that's just kind of like when you turn on your streaming service and it's like, you might like this. So they're kind of doing the same thing here on the back. All right, so the book itself was What Remains by Wendy Walker, and then it's funny because we have this like very spooky looking novel, right? Love this hardcover, but on the jacket it says she saved his life, and then this reflection here, hopefully you can see. So it's a woman up here. She's quite the pose up there. She's supposed to be this like hard-edged detective, and she looks, you know, she's got the knee popped there, and then we've got this menacing man on the bottom, and it says, now he'll never let her go. Dun dun dun. ta! I know you love that when I do that, some of you. So as you can see, not too thick of a book, but I do love that we got a hardcover, which is not always the case with the subscription. But look at how they did the edging. So it's kind of got that like digital, you know, like when they're on a crime show and they're running someone through CODIS, for example, and you can see all of those like digital markers. So it's kind of got that like Minority Report vibe, even though that's a really old movie nowadays. So it says, what remains inside of us is uncertain, unknown, unfamiliar, unruly. What remains inside of me now, I haven't even begun to investigate. So I love me a thriller. I do. And I these days, because I have been reading some really dark things that are just make you kind of scared about the human psyche, I like just a good mystery, a good thriller. So let me go ahead and read the book jacket, the little blurb here, so you guys have a better idea about what it's about. And then I will also show you some of the other things that we got. I don't know where my bookmark went. I know we got a bookmark, and it usually matches the quote card. Here it is. So it says, the quote is, "We all need to be seen for who we are. That's what connects us." So we get the bookmark, and then on the other side it just says Once Upon a Book Club branding. And then of course this is the famous 5x7 quote card that we always get from Once Upon a Book Club. That is one of the things you always get along with the book, the bookmark and the gifts. We did get a signed book plate, which again, always kind of nice. And then they did make sure that you know that you got that book and that signature from Once Upon a Book Club with that book plate. But I always think that is a lovely touch, and a lot of boxes are doing that these days, but again, these are kind of the OGs in terms of having page numbers associated with gifts to bring the story to life. And then we did get an author's note, which I will do my best to read that to you as well, since we just have 3 gifts. I do usually read the passages. I don't think there's major spoilers in these passages, but we'll take a look at the gifts as well. So if you happen to have gotten this box and you don't want to have those items spoiled quite yet, then you might want to wait to watch this unboxing. All right, so it says, Detective Elise Sutton is drawn to cold cases. Each crime is a puzzle to solve, pulled from the past. Elise looks for cracks in the surface and has become an expert on how murderers slip up and give themselves away. She has dedicated her life to creating a sense of order, at work with her ex-Marine partner, at home with her husband and 2 young daughters, and within, battling her own demons. Elise has everything under control until one afternoon when she walks into a department store and is forced to make a terrible choice. To save one life, she will have to take another. Elise is hailed as a hero, but she doesn't feel like one. Steeped in guilt and on a leave of absence from work, she's numb, even to her husband and daughters, until she connects with Wade Austin, the tall man whose life she saved. But Elise soon realizes that he isn't who he says he is. In fact, Wade Austin isn't even his real name. The tall man is a ghost, one who will set off a terrifying game of cat and mouse, threatening Elise and the people she loves most. So it's kind of spooky, right? And it's like one of those sort of ripped from the headline situations, but I could definitely see this in movie form, which for me these days, I feel like that's like a good sign if I can start like casting it in my head. But let me go ahead and read the author's note from Wendy. So you'll probably get a little repeat in terms of like a little bit of synopsis in there too, but it says, "I'm so thrilled that What Remains has been chosen for your wonderful book club." I wonder if it is like flattering. It definitely helps with book sales, especially with a subscription this big, but I wonder if it is truly flattering. This is when faced with an impossible decision, cold case Detective Elise Sutton takes one life to save another, setting off a terrifying game of cat and mouse, like I said, a little repetitive, which threatens both Elise and the people she loves most. This book was inspired by my love of psychological suspense, page-turning thrillers, and character-driven police dramas. The story also takes a deep dive into trauma and forensic science. The idea for What Remains came to me one afternoon when I was listening to a live interview of witnesses to a crime committed in a crowded public venue. I was so moved by their stories, but then they disappeared. The news turned to the victims and the perpetrator. For days, I wondered what became of the people who went home, likely expected to feel nothing but gratitude that their lives had been spared. Having worked in areas of the law involving trauma, I knew that there would be more to their stories. Detective Elise Sutton and the event that begins the novel emerged from the empathy I felt for the witnesses to a crime. My research for Elise began with the interview of a real cold case detective in my community. In addition to sharing her expertise of criminal forensics, she described the emotional impact that resulted from investigating her cases. I knew I had to write about this, as well as the technical aspects of the job. I tried to capture every aspect of this important work in writing Detective Elise Sutton. I hope you love What Remains. My very best, Wendy Walker. So that was kind of cool. That I do like when we hear a little bit more about the inspiration, the writing process. So let's go ahead and turn to our first gift, which came, I believe, on page 4. So super early on. So this is what it looks like when you turn to a page. There'll be a sticky note and it will tell you what to open up. And I'm always kind of trying to guess, of course, what the gift is going to be. They do have most of these gifts made specifically for these boxes. So let's see, what does it say? I have to try to remember what the actual gift is. So this is the like opening scene. I stare at the empty hallway as I make a move. The silence breaks with isolated cries, and then I hear the voice in my ear. It reaches so deep inside me I choke back tears. What's happening? Elise? Elise. I'd forgotten about the phone and the earpiece. Rowan is still outside in the car. Thank God, I think. I should run. I should hide, but I don't. A switch is flipped and the fear retreats. I think about the woman with the brown and white uniform fighting her own terror to help strangers. I look back at the pink towel on the floor. The flashes of balloons and bubble wrap are gone. The faces of my girls, my babies, fade away. I'm not a mother. I'm not a wife. I'm not a sister or a friend. I'm not a partner. I'm a cop, and I'm alone. So she has this moment, but we do have that earpiece. So I was like, what are we going to get? Like, like a Secret Service earpiece? One of the cool things about this subscription is, of course, the packaging. So they actually have everything kind of printed up for it. So here we have matches and fire, which I was like, I was wondering what that was going to have to do with the gift. And it doesn't honestly have much to do with it as far as I could tell. But it is kind of nice that they wrap things in bags, because then if you are going to save this box and re-gift it to someone else for the same reading experience, it makes it really easy to rewrap things. So we actually got, I was really surprised by this, some wireless earbuds. It doesn't look like it's going to be some like self-care product like a bar of soap. So it says, pair these earbuds to your phone, tablet, or computer via Bluetooth to enjoy music, podcasts, and more on the go. You can also take phone calls hands-free. So it's just like good old earpods, which I wear all the time. So we did get, let me go ahead and pull them out. They're actually pretty cute. So we do have the instructions for them. It does say that the charging time is about 2 hours for the case, because it does come with a case, which I was impressed by. The headphone charging time is an hour. It says the average play time is about 2.5 hours. So we do have extra like earbud sizes to fit, you know, so you have to kind of play around with that. They're usually pretty easy to snap on. Here's a little charging cord, and I was actually really impressed by how cute these are. So here's the charging case, which I thought was actually really adorable, right? With this like kind of deep rose color, and then it opens up, and then here's where you charge it. I don't think it's a wireless charging one, so I don't think you can put it on the pad. And then here's the earbuds. They probably came with the medium size, but it looks like there's a larger size as well as like the little rubber tips, as well as a smaller size. And then I haven't actually put them in yet, but it did say, oh yep. So I went ahead and let me just snap these in here. So you can see they lit up with little red lights because now they are charging in this little case. So it's not like super heavy duty. It's definitely like a light plastic, but I was like, this is perfect for travel, because I will tell you guys, I was just on a trip home from Toronto, and for whatever reason, I was like kind of rummaging in the back pocket of the plane seat, and I dropped my AirPods, and like I dropped them so that both of the earbuds fell out on the ground, and I was searching around, like I was on the ground facing my seat. I know, it was kind of crazy. The like poor man sitting next to me was like, can I help you? Are you okay? Because I was like literally on my hands and knees in the dark trying to search for them. I eventually found them, but I was like, I'm gonna be real upset if I come home without one of my earbuds, because one of them I found really quickly and the other one I did not find very quickly. It was like wedged underneath in a track, and I was like, you know, if they'd just been like ones that I don't care about quite so much, like the super not as pricey ones, then I wouldn't have been so heartbroken. The like lady behind me, very unhelpful. She was very upset. But I was like, just when we get up off of the plane, could you maybe just take a look? And she was like, I was like, really? Like, are you gonna? Anyway, I found them, but it would be great to have had those with me instead. All right, our next gift came on page 64. So this is what that looks like. So it did match the cover of the book. And so it had another sticky note. Okay, so let's see. Oh, so so all of that happened in the first few pages, and now she's kind of being stalked and tormented by this guy whose life she essentially saved. I look from Fran to the counter and slowly walk toward it. I don't recognize the number. There's a text message which reads simply, "Nice scarf." And my heart stops. So for you to get the sort of significance of that, you've probably already guessed what the gift is, but he basically accosted her and she has some bruises on her neck. And so she is going to, of course, try to cover that up with a scarf. But the fact that he was able to text her and tell her that he has already seen that she's wearing a scarf is, of course, terrifying, right? So, you know, it says, "I take 2 ibuprofen and get dressed for work, even though it's only 4 a.m. I think I might get away with a silk scarf since fall is here. I have to dig it out from the back of my closet. I haven't worn a decorative accessory since my teaching days, but it covers the discoloration around my neck." And so I head down to the kitchen. So we, of course, got a lovely silk scarf. So this is not super soft and silky. I mean, it's pretty. I like that it's got this sort of script on it. I was trying to see what this pattern, what this like design is. There's definitely something. Oh, I guess they're like flowers, just like squiggly flowers, I think. Or it looks like fingers. I don't know. I'm having a really hard time figuring out what this is. Oh, I think it's a person. Yeah, I think it's a person sitting down, like cross-legged. I don't know if you guys can see that. Probably too much glare. But it looks like a person. Maybe you can see that. And then just writing, it says, "You are in the right place at the right time." I love the smoky blue color, but it's not like the greatest quality. It kind of has that sort of like polyester feel to it. So there you can actually see the person now in those scribbles. But, you know, around your neck, it could be pretty, but it's not super duper soft. But that's to be expected from a book box, in all honesty. Like, not like the most amazing quality, but you could definitely use it like as a headband or something, but it's just not as slippery soft as one would hope. And it definitely needs some ironing. All right, the last gift came on page 145. Again, the whole book was a little bit longer, so it was like, let's see, I think the whole book was probably 244 pages. So, you know, we still had another 100 pages to go after this. Sometimes the little sticky note comes at the very bottom like that. Fran left her pajamas on the floor. I pick them up in one hand while I reach for the light with the other, and it's then that I see a pink towel on the floor, just beneath the hook behind the door where it must have fallen. I don't reach for it. I don't move a muscle. The water runs next door. Fran's sweet baby smell rises from the pajamas, and my heart pounds just from the sight of the towel. And I realize that all this time, Mitch has been cleaning up after the girls so I wouldn't have to see them. The pink towels. He hangs them up behind the door and washes them every week. So the reason that she was in the department store where she had to make that life or death decision was because she was trying to pick up pink towels for her girls, which then they did eventually get, I think, from Amazon. But so the pink towels, which you even heard in that first passage that I read, are definitely a trigger. And she discovers this pink towel on the floor, not where she left it when she got into the shower. And that is a sign that there has been an intruder in her home. So again, it's that sort of like the call is coming from inside the house, you're being watched, and someone decided to drop the pink floor because they know that it is a trigger for you. Not nice. Not nice, Wade. Even though your name's not Wade. And again, we get some of those like digital, like binary ones and zeros down here, even though there wasn't like a huge like tech aspect to this novel in my opinion. So you guys, my favorite thing ever, right? A pink towel. It's a pink terry beach towel, but it definitely has kind of a bookish theme to it. So hopefully you guys can see there. Oh, that's upside down. So we do have some like coffee mugs on stacked books. In every which direction. It's kind of fun because it's woven, so you get the reverse pattern on the other side. It's got tassels on each end, so it does make sense for like a July box, and it is pink, but it's definitely more like a beach towel than it is necessarily a towel that you would use in your bathroom, which is a good thing because then obviously we want a set of those. But it's kind of cute. You could definitely use it as a bath towel because it does have that texture to it. I mean, I don't mind a bookish item. It's just unfortunate that they had to be so literal. In this case, I totally understand why they sent us a pink towel. And it's supposed to be a pink towel that was meant for like little girls. So, but I like that they gave it a bookish flair and that they did give it the tassels so you could use it for your beach reading. So it's cute. Not my favorite. I'll probably be regifting it, but You know, it definitely made sense. I was impressed with the earbuds. The silk scarf, if it was slightly better quality, would have been great. The towel is lovely, but not my style. And then finally, here is an example of one of those paper gifts where you turn to the page. It doesn't count as one of the main gifts, but we just got this photograph with this guy's face circled, and it says, so someone had left this photo for her, essentially. The last photo zooms in on a young man. I don't recognize him, but his face is circled with red pen, and I know exactly what this means. I hear the burner phone, which he moved to the counter near the coffee machine, along with the one he took from my clothing, buzz with a new message. It simply says, "You're welcome," because he has gotten into her brain, you know, because they were supposed to be bonded by this traumatic event, but he is using it to manipulate her and traumatize her further. And he has found who they have decided is their common enemy, and now he wants her help to possibly destroy this person to even more tie them together. But this is an example of where I thought it was kind of cool that they included just an extra paper gift for us to stumble upon a little bit further on in the book. It wasn't much further on though. I mean, we got that gift, the towel, on 145, and that photograph came on like 151, but still kind of a nice little touch, nice little detail from the gals at Once Upon a Book Club. So let me know in the comments below if you love your book subscriptions, if it helps you to read a little bit more and try different things when you know there's some gifts along the way. Again, if you want to check it out, you can use the code Noel10 for 10% off, and I will see you all very, very soon in my next unboxing.